Chapter 30.
Longbottom appeared on the brink of fainting from fright at any moment. Draco, weary of his trembling, reassured him in a low voice. "Calm down, Longbottom. Do you really believe there's a creature out there more menacing than me?" Taking it as comfort, Longbottom asked, "You'll protect me, Malfoy?" "Sure," Draco groaned, hoping Severus would never hear about this embarrassing moment. He fell silent, gazing at the moon, with clouds sweeping across it, much like in his memories. He had reviewed the night's summary in his notebook and found the passive strategy acceptable. All that was really expected from him was to moan and run scared, which he prided himself on. "Is that you, Filch? Let's get started," Hagrid called impatiently, emerging from his hut. Potter appeared relieved at Hagrid's presence, which seemed to annoy Filch. "Think you'll enjoy yourself with that giant? Think again, boy. It's off into the forest for you, and I doubt you'll all return unharmed." Who did this pompous squib think he was intimidating with such bluster? Longbottom, evidently, if his quiet whimper and grip on Potter's sleeve were any indication. Draco's composed demeanor stood out in stark contrast, thanks to his unique situation. Knowing how everything would go and that safety lay in sticking to the plan made bravery a breeze. "It's just the Forbidden Forest, Longbottom," Draco said with a leisurely sigh, knowing it would irritate Filch. "They wouldn't send us in if it were truly dangerous. The forest is overrated. I bet Malfoy Manor has tenfold dangers without reaching the dungeons." Hagrid, accompanied by his unpleasant dog and wielding a crossbow, said, finally, "Been waitin' fair ages. All right, Harry, Hermione, Draco." Draco half wondered how he was included in that greeting. He just hoped it wouldn't become public knowledge that he was chummy with the gamekeeper. "Tread carefully, Hagrid," Filch warned. "They're being punished, remember." "Is that why you're late? Got them lectured, didn't ya? That's not your job. You've done what ya came fair, I'll take it from here." It was rather satisfying to observe Hagrid dismiss Filch, even as the gamekeeper. "I'll fetch what's left of them come dawn," Filch declared unconvincingly and walked away. How could Draco ever have seen the squib as threatening? Draco hadn't scribbled such details in his notes, but recalled pleading with Hagrid to avoid the forest, calling it servant work and threatening to inform his father. He'd be let down if plans altered now. Stick to the trusted blue loop, honor it, fear it, live it, embrace it. "Right then," Hagrid said. "Now listen up, it's risky what we're doing tonight and no risks allowed. Follow me." Forcing students into the forest, first years no less, did seem recklessly negligent to Draco. Hogwarts obviously had a relaxed stance on child safety. Hagrid led them to the forest's edge, lifting his lantern to reveal a narrow trail. Unicorn blood awaited them, Draco surmised, feeling like a clairvoyant for knowing before Hagrid announced it. "Look there," Hagrid pointed out. "See that silvery stuff? That's unicorn blood. Poor creature's been badly hurt. It's happened twice in a week. I found one dead last." Yes, euthanizing unicorns was certainly a suitable task for 11-year-olds. "Now, we'll split into two groups and follow the blood trails in different directions. Blood all over means it wandered all night." "I want Fong," Draco declared quickly, recalling his earlier pairing with Longbottom and the dog. Hagrid acknowledged, "All right, but he's a coward," before splitting them up. "Harry, Hermione, me this way, Draco, Neville, and Fong that way. Find a unicorn, shoot green sparks. Get into trouble, set off red sparks. Got it? Let's go." Ah yes, the well-known distress signal of red sparks. They moved along, Draco and Longbottom with the dog branching away from the others. Longbottom clutched Draco's arm, whimpering as they went. "Longbottom," Draco said firmly, "I promise to shield you, but cling to me like Pansy Parkinson after 2 butterbeers, and I'll ditch you for the dog." "Sorry," went Longbottom, immediately letting go. As they continued, Draco remembered jesting with him, which led to Longbottom sending red sparks, bringing a partner switch. He mulled over deviating from the blue loop when Longbottom panicked and set red sparks. Draco spun around, alarmed.
What?
What, Longbottom? Fighting the urge to hide, he brandished his wand. Without a ready-made script, bravery felt distant. Look there, Longbottom squealed, pointing at a gnarled silhouette. Draco scrutinized, then said, Longbottom, with deliberate slowness, that's just a tree. Frozen, Longbottom only relaxed once Draco approached and proved the tree's innocence with Lumos. See, Longbottom? Scary tree, Longbottom murmured. Draco. Neville. Where are you? Hagrid called, his towering figure crashing through the undergrowth. Over here. No worries, just a false alarm, Draco replied. Hagrid burst upon them like a frightened wormtail. Neville, what was that noise? Apologies, Longbottom muttered. Surprisingly, instead of resenting Draco's tattle, Longbottom whispered, Thanks, Draco, as Hagrid ushered them back. Oh dear, he was Draco now? If Longbottom knew whose wand was raised for his defense, for what? For telling Hagrid it was just a mistake. Leave it to Draco to maintain a mysterious aura, even in camaraderie. It wasn't out of fear of a tree. Draco reassured himself internally, amused that Longbottom even needed such things said to him out loud. Clearly, Gryffindors like Neville required such obvious explanations. Despite this, Draco found himself feeling more uneasy with Longbottom's thanks than his sense of betrayal. I absolutely despise being afraid, Neville murmured. I can't fathom why I was placed in Gryffindor. I'm hopeless at being courageous. The hilarity of Draco being the recipient of such indiscreet confessions was only rivaled by its serendipity. He had, after all, an unwavering conviction in Neville's Gryffindor heart when others seemed to doubt it. Believe me, Longbottom, you're a true Gryffindor at your core. Draco spoke with a touch of longing, envisioning the thrill of cleaving Nagini with a blade. You just need some time to grow into it. There's a reason you were sorted there, I assure you. Trust me, I have an understanding of these things that goes beyond all you kids. Soon, they arrived at the spot where Hagrid had left Potter and Granger. The pair stifled laughter as Hagrid explained, We'll be lucky to catch anything now, given the commotion you boys caused. Right, group changes. Neville, you'll stay with me and Hermione. Harry, you're with Fong and Draco. Though Draco initially wanted these teams, he didn't grasp them until Hagrid confided to Potter. Think Hermione's the only one who can steady Neville, Draco felt a sting of resentment at this, having sincerely tried to comfort Longbottom, though he had to admit, it seemed ineffective. Potter nodded with a brave face, but it was clear he'd prefer sharing a search party with Umbridge. Not that he'd ever met her, or may never if the timeline altered enough. So into the woods they trudged, trailing bloodstains, as Potter initiated stiff exchanges about upcoming tests. Eventually, the conversation shifted to Draco drilling Potter on dates for their history of magic subject until they found themselves astray, and Potter noted the bloodstains growing more frequent. He indicated roots flecked with crimson, leading to a clearing beyond a solemn, bent oak, the same that had triggered Neville's panic. Here, Draco vividly recalled, was where he had originally worried about what type of creature had slain the unicorn and might come after him as well. But this time, his eyes were on Potter, marveling at the compassion and grief emanating from him, visible even amid shadows. Soon followed the daunting task. Quirrell-shrouded approached, compelling Draco to quell the urge to ask about their defense class. As revolting as before, Quirrell siphoned unicorn blood, which made Draco grimace instinctively, before remembering to mask the outrage with fear. It's true he bemoaned his role in Dumbledore's demise, but posthumously he affirmed, Dumbledore's term deserved stricter defense against the dark arts recruitment. Potter, eyes fixated, barely acknowledged Draco. His attention seized by Quirrell and, As Quirrell's gaze met his, Potter clutched his scarred forehead, collapsing backward. Thus preoccupied, Draco missed Quirrell's approach, his apparel smeared in unicorn lifeblood. He'd missed the chance to bolt for safety like earlier, a testament to his pattern of self-endangerment due to excessive concern for Potter. His wand was in his hand instinctively, lifted toward the obscured figure, Quirrell, while internally asserting his noble lineage. If he were to face death, let it be proper, at the hand of a resurrected Dark Lord instead of an inadequate teacher with ghastly interests. Surprisingly, he felt less frightened than imagined, finding even demise preferable to Dementa's. With shut eyes, he whispered, "Sectum." But something struck him sharply from behind, blotting out his consciousness. Enervate. Draco awoke to find 4 anxious faces above, with Potter explaining, "The centaurs offer their apologies." Gradually, Draco understood what transpired. The centaurs had arrived just in time to fend off the villain, but cavorted over Draco, inadvertently knocking him unconscious. "Escort me to Professor Snape," Draco declared promptly. "He'll prevent any scarring. Malfoys don't carry scars." The familiar exasperated groans resonated from above, Granger's the most light-hearted. "He'll be fine," she assured, brushing his hair. Both Granger and Potter chose to accompany him and Hagrid to the infirmary, and Draco found this unexpectedly moving until it became clear they were there to divulge whispers into his muddled senses. Firenze, the centaur, mentioned that slaying a unicorn curses you to a half-life, serving only to endure till you obtain something stronger, like the elixir of life. He suspects the Philosopher's Stone's involved and claimed Voldemort's presence in the woods. "Don't utter that name," Granger promptly interjected, relaying Draco with appreciation. "Or at least that seemed his implication," Potter finished, believing perhaps Voldemort never truly perished. Draco suspected Quirrell but acknowledged his amateur status in such matters. "My dear Potter," Draco mused, still fogged but seizing the moment. "Not deceased, you say? Laying down on the job, were we? Could it be the so-called chosen one is nothing but a pretender?" Realizing his error when Potter's face clouded with rage, Draco braced as Potter seized his collar. "Silence, Draco," Potter hissed. "Should he survive, mark my words, I'll finish him again." "That's the attitude," Draco quipped, enjoying Granger and Hagrid admonishing Potter for antagonizing one wounded. Between Madame Pomfrey and Severus, they swiftly alleviated Draco's concussion and hair-concealed bruises, easing his complaints. Yet the encounter lingered, distracting them from exams, while Potter's paranoia insisted Severus plotted to take the stone for Voldemort. Granger, conversely, remained confident that Dumbledore's presence offered security. In the midst of it all, the return of the invisibility cloak, likely orchestrated by Dumbledore, hinted at his expectation to entrust the upcoming battle with Voldemort to the Chosen One, preferring to indulge in his lemon candies. Draco wisely withheld airing those thoughts. Hence, they approached exams, anticipating an attempt on the stone's safety and Voldemort's revival, to which Potter would frequently assure Draco he intended to vanquish the Dark Lord yet again, finally proving his authenticity. "You're a few years premature, Potter," Draco would retort, "but I'm keen to see you try."
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!